Are you struggling to have an English conversation with English speakers, friends, colleagues, or strangers? Do you want to sound natural, confident, and comfortable while speaking English? If you answered yes, then this is the video for you. Hello everyone, I am Priyanka Chaudhary and welcome to my channel. In this video today, I'm going to share with you the most powerful tips and strategies that will make your English conversation smoother and enjoyable than ever. So guys, without any further ado, let's dive in. So here is tip number 1, active listening. If you want to become a good communicator, a good English speaker, for that, initially you have to become an attentive listener first. Active listening is significant if you want to keep the conversation, maybe with your friends or a stranger or with anyone. Keep nodding while you are talking to the person and keep using phrases like, I see, really? That's amazing. Let me give you an example. Let's say the other person with whom you are in the conversation is sharing something with you like this. I recently visited Japan. So in response to this, you can say, oh really? That's amazing. What places did you visit? Like this, you guys also have to respond. It actually shows that you are interested in listening to the person and you want to continue this conversation. So always remember tip number 1, be an active listener. Here is tip number 2, ask open-ended questions. Well, the questions can be asked in two ways. Close-ended questions and open-ended questions. Close-ended questions are those questions in response to which you have to answer in yes or no. Means this much is enough. For instance, if I'll ask you, did you enjoy the trip? Your answer will be like yes or no. Alright? And if I ask you, do you like eating sweets? Again, your answer will be yes or no. So these type of questions are called close-ended questions. On the other hand, in tip number 2, I'm asking you to ask open-ended questions. Now, these type of questions require answers in detail, where you have to explain. For example, so instead of asking, did you enjoy your trip to Japan? You can better ask, what was the most memorable part of your trip to Japan? So while you will be asking this question, you are actually giving the opportunity to the other person to speak more and you will be listening to that person. And this is how you can keep the conversation. And here is tip number 3. Practice speaking English regularly. Practice being a part of English conversation on the regular basis. Why is it important? Because if you are going to do it on the regular basis, you will be more comfortable speaking in English, talking to others in English. Now, for that, for practicing, you can join some conversation clubs, like language conversation clubs, or there are some apps where you can actually connect with the people with whom you can do the conversation in English. And make sure that you are trying to hold the conversation initially for 15 minutes or gradually you can continue holding the conversation for 30 minutes. All right, so do it on the regular basis. Initially it is going to be a little challenging, but if you will be doing it on the regular basis, you are going to be consistent, then you will be more comfortable and you will feel like that you are speaking English more smoothly. All right, so practice talking in English and schedule a conversation with a language partner where you can actually engage yourself speaking English. And here is tip number 4, use simple language. So whenever you are interacting with anyone who is a stranger, who is new to you, so do not just start showcasing your vocabulary power and by using a lot of complex sentences and advanced vocabulary just to have a good impression on others. Hang on, listen to that person first. Try to analyze that what is that person's actually level. and what sort of vocabulary the other person is using. Accordingly, speak. All right. Initially, use simple and basic. Use and begin with the speaking simple sentences. All right. And the moment you realize that the other person is actually able to understand if I'm going to use the advanced sentences and vocabulary, only then start doing it. I hope you're getting my point, that why am I asking you to use basic language, simple language, because you want to keep the conversation, you want to hold it, you do not want to end up the conversation here, right? And that's the reason you are speaking according to the understanding of the person. All right, so therefore, in order to keep the conversation, we have to actually speak with using simple language. Tip number 5: be polite and respectful. So whenever you are talking to anyone, make sure that you are not being rude, you are not using some sentences where you are actually sounding rude to the other person. If you are going to sound rude at any point, there are chances of losing the conversation. All right, so you make sure that you are using some words like could you please or please. For instance, rather than saying give me the salt, you better say could you please pass the salt. Or if there is any situation where you do not agree with the other person, so rather than saying you're wrong, no, you better say I understand your point of view, but I see it differently. All right, so just do not be rude and try to be more polite and respectful. Only then you can keep the conversation, you can hold the conversation. Tip number 6 is non-verbal communication. So here, let me tell you something interesting, that communication requires two things: verbal communication and non-verbal communication. We are already working a lot on our verbal communication, right? And sometimes we just avoid non-verbal communication, and this is something that actually is an obstacle. It becomes an obstacle in keeping the conversation. All right, and we sometimes do not realize that what happened, and the other person stopped talking, other person just left back. All right, so this is the reason. Non-verbal communication, it is significant and it plays a far bigger role than verbal communication. Well, non-verbal communication means body language. So whenever you are talking to anyone, make sure when you are greeting anyone, make sure that you have nice smile on your face. All right, and use your hand gestures to explain your point. Okay, and at the same time, try keep nodding, right, like this. Okay, and when you keep nodding, it shows that you are understanding the other person and you are listening at the same time. Okay, so this is significant, so that you do not make the other person feel that you are not interested and you are not listening to the other person. If you will be doing it, the other person, like I said before, will lose the conversation, lose the interest, will not feel like talking to you anymore. And we do not want it. We want the other person to be with us in the conversation. All right, for that I again advise you to use non-verbal communication effectively. For instance, let's say the other person told you that it was my birthday yesterday, and you are saying like, oh, it was a birthday, happy birthday. So did you just notice the facial expression on my face? See, if you are going to wish that person in this way, obviously that person is not going to like it. All right, now on the other hand, if you say the same thing with a nice expression on your face, it will be something like this: oh really, I didn't know this, belated happy birthday, with a smile on your face. Now if you are going to wish the person like this, the person will be really happy that you wished him or her his or her happy birthday. So this much important non-verbal communication is. Here is tip number 7: think in English. So whenever you are planning to have a conversation with anyone, make sure that you are not translating in your head from your native language to English language. If you are going to do this, it is going to take a lot of time. All right, the other person is not going to wait for your response for so long, and you will not be even sound natural while speaking in this way. So avoid thinking in your native language and start directly thinking in English. By doing this, you will be responding quickly and you will sound natural. So start thinking in English whenever you are talking to anyone. Tip number 8. Stay relaxed, stay calm. Don't panic, don't be nervous. It is really important to stay calm and relaxed while you are in the conversation. It actually shows your comfortability level, that how comfortably you are speaking and you are not aiming for perfection while speaking. So stay relaxed and don't worry too much about your mistakes and grammar and pronunciation. All right, it's okay, it happens. Even I sometimes make mistakes, and I do not make the other person feel awkward. All right, and I make sure that the moment I make mistake, I correct it just after that. Let's say you said something like, I went to a store last weekend, and then you realize I made a mistake, so correct it. Oh, I mean, I went to a store last weekend. Like this, all right? So just come back to the conversation and be normal, all right? Stay relaxed, stay calm. And here is the next tip. Keep expanding your vocabulary. So if you want to sound natural and confident while speaking, for that you need to familiarize yourself with the vocabulary. Yes. So keep learning different vocabs by reading books or some other resources available online, and keep yourself updated. Do not only learn and store all these vocabs in your head, use these learned vocabs in speaking in your conversation as well. Here is tip number 10. Seek feedback. This is really significant for your own growth and improvement. Well, if you guys are in contact with or you are talking, you are in the conversation with any English native speaker or any English language trainer you are talking to, and you want to practice speaking the vocabulary that you learned before. So let's say you said something like, it was inevitable we would eventually meet. And then you can ask that, did I use this word inevitable correctly? So you are asking this from that native speaker or from your English language trainer, that whether you used it correctly or not. Then you are going to get the feedback, all right? And by doing this, you can correct your sentence, you can work on your mistakes, all right? So this is really important to do whenever you are in the conversation with any native speaker or English language trainer. Ask them for the feedback. They will surely help you to learn and to improve your spoken English skills. And that's enough for today's video. I believe you found these tips and techniques helpful. If it is so and you enjoyed watching this video throughout, do not forget to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and share this video. And do not hesitate to share your thoughts, ideas. Drop down in the comments and let me know what do you think about this video. Thank you so much for joining me till the end. I'll catch you later in the next video. Till then, bye bye. Take care.